Or regional radio forecast.
A blend of clouds and sun today with daytime highs approaching 83. Winds out of the south 8 to 15 miles per hour. Cloudy skies expected tonight. Chance for scattered thunderstorms. Lows around 65. Scattered thunderstorms again tomorrow. Highs level off around 81. Cloudy.
Hear weather twice an hour or online anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com. Currently, it's 68.
Getting your pet's needed medications is easy with Covenant Animal Clinic in Clinton.
Yes, very convenient, especially because I live in Bloomington. It always gets delivered right to your door.
I've used the online pharmacy. It's so easy.
Click the Covenant Animal Clinic icon at DeWittDailyNews.com to learn more.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
A sports injury takes the fun out of sports any time of year. Hi, I'm Paul Scarron, CEO of Warner Hospital and Health Services in Clinton. All of our PT folks are trained in lots of specialties, just like a bigger facility, to get you back in the game from a sports injury, or if you're in need of any other physical therapy your doctor prescribes. We offer quality, compassionate care close to home, so don't go out of town. Come see us at the Warner Hospital and Health Services Physical Therapy Department, and we'll get you back in the game.
Hey, this is Todd Gleason from Illinois Extension here with a time change for our daily market report on WHOW. You can now catch our daily review of the commodity markets at 5:06 on all of WHOW's many platforms. You'll still hear all of our commodity analysts and weather professionals each afternoon, but at a brand new time. And you'll still hear the weekly wrap-up of the commodity markets right here on WHOW when Commodity Week airs Saturdays at 8:30 a.m. Remember the time change for the daily closing market report on WHOW at our new time, 5:06 p.m. weekdays.
DeWitt County's #1 source for local news is on the air and online 24 hours a day. The latest local news stories are heard every hour on Central Illinois' news station, the Big 1520 AM and 92.3 FM WHOW. Stream live at DeWittDailyNews.com. They're also heard every hour on the station that's your easy choice, 95.9 FM WEZC. And to read the latest local news on your electronic device, including tablets, iPhones, and smartphones, go to DeWittDailyNews.com. DeWitt County's #1 source for local news is on the air, online 24 hours a day.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show is streaming to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest in this segment of the morning show, Terry Ferguson, DeWitt County Board Chair, follows up the Thursday night DeWitt County Board meeting. Good morning, Terry.
Good morning, Seth.
Well, it took, we took the long way there, but we finally figured out this ARPA money situation.
Yeah, I guess we did. We started out not really having any good information about how the funds could be used. And then we got some information on what could be done. And then we put out the word to the organizations and outside agencies to make application to us. Well, then the feds changed the rules again on how the money can be used. Mm-hmm. And it was just quite a deliberation to try to figure it all out. We ended up with we got $3 million in revenue, and the outside agencies requested $6.5 million. And
right.
We had to sort out the wheat from the chaff, and I think there was pretty much of a consensus that we needed to concentrate on public safety and long-term improvements, brick and mortar type stuff, maintenance of facilities, those types of projects, things that would be lasting.
Mm-hmm.
And, we got requests for everything from fireworks to firehouses
mm-hmm.
out of the deal. And we thought, well, the fireworks would be nice for an hour and then they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, we finally came to an agreement last night on how to distribute the funds.
Sure. So I kind of got a kick out of Aaron K. Meyer mentioned, felt like a lot of this was fly by the seat of the pants. And to some extent it was. You even made the comment, well, hasn't that been kind of COVID a little bit,
Yeah, pretty much.
That was, I got a kick out of that one. But as you talked to Terry here this morning, of course, there was a lot of, you mentioned the discussion surrounding public safety, and a lot of those folks were there to provide good input from you. What'd you hear from them? Talk a little bit about what we're going to be funding for our first responders in the county.
Okay. Well, I guess maybe the broadest reaching thing was the chest compression machines for doing mechanical CPR, and the ambulance service and one of the fire departments had requested one of those, and we voted to approve it. And then it was brought up, said, well, if we're really interested in public safety and health and welfare and stuff, why not get one for each fire department in the county?
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of evolved to that, that at $23,000 a piece times 9, you end up with nearly $200,000 real quick.
Mm-hmm.
But we decided to fund that. There's a couple of requests for more training room space for Kenny and Farmer City Fire Department.
Mm-hmm.
Those ranged from 250,000 to 500, and we determined we would provide 100,000 to each one of those for seed money, and let them use their local sources for the rest of the projects.
Mm-hmm. Sure. So how about nonprofits and businesses? How did you approach those things?
Well, the nonprofits, I think we looked at them as projects that they could use to improve their facilities. The WHOW requested made quite a large request. I don't think they ever intended to get all of it, but they had some requests to make the gym handicapped accessible and projects like that. So we determined to fund that for them. The Friendship Center, which is part of the county government, they're one of they get taxes from the public for their services. While it's very a small portion of their entire budget, they rely on donations and fundraisers for the majority of their funding.
Mm-hmm.
But they needed a new roof on their building and some improvements for their handicapped accessibility to the new parking lot. Mm-hmm. And we gave them some funding. It was projects like that.
Sure. How about businesses? I know you're going to partner with DeWitt County Development Council, it sounds like.
Yeah. And then in a small way, we're going to let the Development Council manage a small grant program for the businesses in the communities. They're doing that now with some seed money from First National Bank.
Mm-hmm.
They're filtering the projects and making the awards on that behalf. So, they're experienced with doing that, and we felt that they'd be the proper agency to deal with those type of grants.
Mm-hmm. So going forward, towards the end of the meeting, an excellent point was brought up. Distributing the money. Is it a matter of cutting a check, giving it to the agency, and asking them to provide receipts of what they spend? Is it going to be up to those folks to do whatever they want to do and then come to the county with the receipts and be reimbursed? How do we proceed?
I think that's where we got to get the details worked out. There's some groups that have the money available to front themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Others don't.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's reporting requirements for the ARPA funding. Mm-hmm. And we'll have to make sure that however it's completed, that it meets all of those requirements. I think we're going to request that everybody finalize their requests. We're going to turn it into our Bellwether, our consultant that's working with the county to make sure everything's done correctly. We'll get make sure all those projects that that we're going to be funding our the approved uses of the ARPA fund.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't want to get anybody in trouble for misuse of funding.
Mm-hmm.
And I think here this last week there's been some tremendous, really large numbers floating around. The feds have said possibly $100 billion of the COVID relief money was misused, and now they're going back and trying to collect it. So, we want to make sure we do it all right.
I want to go back to the consultant the county brought in. Was that necessary given, all the changes? I know early on it probably was because there were so many stipulations and all of that. But as this evolved, what was their presence and continuing to have them on retainer?
Yeah,
necessary?
they're on retainer, and the administrator, Dee Dee Rentmeister, is in contact with them quite often as the some of the reports just, we've had to make the first report here this summer.
Mm-hmm.
And we wanted to make sure we got it done correctly. And they provided the assistance to review our report and make sure it was all correct before we submitted it to the feds.
Interesting stuff. Just kind of in retrospect, looking back at how the process played out over the last, I think it was like 8 months ago, we started talking about the funding being available. Like I said, I know early on you had a lot of kind of stipulations on how you could use this money. Anything you'd go back and do different?
Oh, maybe we pulled the trigger too quick on asking the community for projects, in light of the rules changing and all that. It would have been better to I guess waited until all the rules were finalized, but how the heck are you supposed to know when they're final?
That's fair. Yeah.
They send out a multi-100-page rule book and spend a lot of time on what do you call them? The web meetings and stuff, explaining all the rules. And you figure, well, now we're ready to go. Well, then a month later, all that's for naught, and they've changed it. So
right.
It's hard to read.
Yeah, it was, and like you said, I mean, I think it's a fair point. You couldn't have foreseen all the changes that came down. That's certainly fair. But interesting stuff. Any final thoughts on this? We're finally settled. We can move along.
I think we're settled. We did hire an engineering firm to look over our buildings there at the courthouse and the jail to come up with a long-range plan for maintenance. And
Mr. Newberg mentioned that. Why don't you give us your thoughts on that, Terry?
Yeah, I think that was probably money well spent. We identified the problem with the roof on the jail that's going to need attention here in the next year. Next 2 or 3 years, we've got some tuck pointing that needs to be handled there on the courthouse, and none of the stuff is real serious right now, but to know a long range plan of where your problems are is that way you can plan for the future.
Yeah, I mean, you can't keep kicking the can down the road on some of these. So one thing I'm curious about, Terry, would it have been possible to put some of this money away? The only reason I ask is because we heard from Dan Markwell, our state's attorney, last meeting in July about the forthcoming Safety Act, and that's going to really, sounds like, eliminate a lot of reliable revenue streams. Any thought as to putting money away if that was possible?
Well, this money has to be utilized by the end of 25.
Okay.
So, but as revenue is lost because of the law that changes how the justice system works, that has to be made up. We've got these large expenditures coming for maintenance on the building, and I feel that's why it was important to keep some of the money in hand for the maintenance of the county facilities. When you're faced with loss of revenue and increased requirements, it's going to be really hard to plan for all those in the future.
Right. Well, and, to that end, I mean, that's another, it's not putting money away per se, but that's, lessening the stress on the budget in future years, it feels like.
Yeah, that's true. That's our thoughts.
Right. Very good. Final thoughts from you, Terry, on this whole thing.
Well, I don't know in light of the general economy, I don't know that it was a good deal that Uncle Sam passed out millions of dollars to county governments.
And you're talking about billion.
It may be in the macro world, it may be causing us more inflation and more problems than what it's solving.
Right.
But, we've got the money in hand, and, we just need to be judicious in how it's spent.
And you're talking billions lost, that doesn't help the situation.
No, it doesn't.
Terry Ferguson, DeWitt County Board Chair, my guest in studio today. We recap the Thursday night DeWitt County Board meeting. More of that coming your way on the morning show.
WHOW.
Let's check the opening numbers now at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Friday. I'm Jim Taylor. Corn slightly higher, beans lower, and wheat starting the day higher. September corn 6.21 and a quarter, up 1.5. December corn up 1 3/4, 6.17 March corn starting the day 6.25 and a quarter, up 2.5. September beans opening 14.83, down 12.5. November new crop down 12 1/4, 13.93, and January beans 13.99 3/4. That's down 11 3/4. September wheat 7.38 1/4, up 6 3/4. December wheat also up 6 3/4, 7.55 3/4. March wheat 7.72 1/4, up 6 1/4. September bean meal 442.70. That's down 6.70. And September bean oil 66.14. Down 12 cents. Look at the opening numbers at the Chicago Board of Trade for this Friday. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network.
Baum Chevrolet Buick also has transportation options in Farmer City. This is Scott Baum. Baum Motor Company in Farmer City has been open since 2002. We have used cars and trucks, SUVs and crossovers to fit your transportation needs. We also have a convenient service option for maintenance and repairs, plus trailer sales and trailer rentals. Come see Chase Stevenson, Taylor Kennedy for sales, and Matt French for service. Baum Motor Company in Farmer City, right from the start.
MR Systems Wireless is your local internet provider for Clinton and surrounding area. They have the products you want and the local service you deserve. MR Systems Wireless Internet service for home or business includes unlimited data, unlimited streaming, and unlimited calling. Plans start at just $48 a month and get a free Roku 4 lease with our media packages. Get the speed you need with MR Systems Wireless. Call them at 935-2100. That's 935-2100 for MR Systems Wireless.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Top of the morning. Once again, thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show is streaming to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. DeWitt County Board Chair Terry Ferguson is my guest in studio here for this morning. Terry, sounds like some road work getting done in rural parts of DeWitt County. That's what Mr. Mathon had for us last night. Talk about what's going on with some of these roads.
Yeah, they're going to be finishing up the paving of the Waynesville Blacktop. Part of it's been done by the wind farm. The county's going to do the last 2 miles and going on into Waynesville. That was outside of the boundaries of the wind farm. The bridge collapse out there in Nixon Township. It's been out for 3 years. It's finally going to be replaced this fall. And
I just want to say, I don't know if Travis Hauser listens to this or not. I totally got his pun. We're going to break ground.
Yeah.
No one laughed. How does no one laugh at that? That was funny. That was funny. I got it. For if he's out there listening, I got that. That was great stuff.
Yeah. So anyway, and it's been announced now that the roads within the wind farm, all the gravel roads out there, are going to be oiled and chipped. That's going to start next week. The residents out there, I hope, are paying attention and will be notified of which roads they're going to be dealing with. Of course, they'll be graded up, and then they'll be put the prime oil late in the day. So the roads will be sticky and gooey for the night.
Go slow is what he said.
Go slow. The slower, the better.
See, I would have
stay at home if you can.
Well, that too. I would have thought like slower would have not been as good, I guess.
No.
So
it
interesting.
Slow's the way to go.
All right.
And
Now, what road is that?
They'll be covered up with another layer of oil and rocks, and they'll be finished then.
Which
The
road
next
is
day.
this?
What's that?
Which road is this?
All of the roads out in the wind farm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's close to 30 miles out there.
Yeah, no doubt. How are the roads looking from your perspective? Have you been out there at all since?
Well, they're a little rough. They're going to need a little grading to get finished up. There was some problems with some of the shoulders. I think they've been pretty well addressed. I think there may be a few more spots that need to be tuned up.
Mhm.
The roads will be graded. Some of the potholes and stuff will be cut out. Then they'll be watered and re-rolled, and then the prime oil goes on. Then the next morning, the road oil and chips go on.
Sure. Terry, I want to go back to something you mentioned last night before we get too much farther in this discussion. Putting out a call for folks to be a part of the RPC ZBA.
Yes.
And was there another one?
The Bi-County
Health Department
Public
Board.
Health. Yeah.
Tell us about this. What do you need?
Well, we need volunteers. We need people willing to step up and serve on those as boards members on those agencies. We've got an opening now on the RPC. We've got another opening that'll be coming after the county board election. I think we've got one opening on the ZBA with another one at the county board election. And I heard there's one of the doctors that's serving on the Bi-County Health Board is not going to run again for they're going to step down. So we'll need to find somebody to take that place. So yeah, anybody that's interested in serving their community, please give myself or Dee Dee Rentmeister at the County Board Administration Office a call.
Sure. Also of note, you mentioned you weren't at the land use meeting, but Mr. Kmeyer mentioned that a lot of review of ordinances going on at this time.
Yeah, we've got our zoning ordinance. We've been going over trying to modernize it. The things change. This summer we became aware of the booming business of Airbnb type vacation rental homes. We've got some concerns some neighbors have of campers on neighboring properties. There's rules from the state on how many campers you can have without having to have a license for a campground. We don't have anything like that in our ordinance. We've been made aware of, had some complaints about billboards or signage. And we need to tune up our ordinance on that. And believe it or not, we've had requests for people wanting to have pigs and chickens in the town of DeWitt. And
it's been a hot topic in Clinton. I don't know if you heard that.
It has. So, we're going to let Clinton sort it out and maybe kind of adopt some of their rules. There was a request somebody made for, can we have a service duck?
A service duck.
And I thought, well, that's interesting.
That's a first. That's a first. Yes,
yeah,
indeed.
I don't know if that would be on a leash, to lead a blind person around or what, or
yeah.
But,
I'll have to look into that a little more. A service
maybe
duck.
you should get one of those.
Well, I didn't mean for me. I just meant to know more about it. What are you trying to say here, Terry? Do I need a service duck?
You might.
No, but so that's on the radar, it sounds like, going forward. Anything else out of last night's meeting? Marina, give us a Marina update.
Oh, we did complete all the breakwater installation there last week or so. We've got the old antiquated structure that's been drifting around out there on a cable. We got the rest of the wooden structure hauled off. The new breakwater is working great. Looks good. If
doing its job.
It's doing its job.
Yeah.
We may have to. I think we're going to have to. Probably going to have to go ahead and look at adding another section. We had made plans for to install the 300 feet with another 150 foot at a later date. We kind of broke it up into two sections, but we may need to add, maybe 100 or 50, 75 feet to make it work. I don't think we're going to need the additional 150 feet. So
All right.
it's working real well.
Very good. It's good to hear. That's what you like. Protect those boats, protect that property out there.
Yeah, very good.
All right. Well, Terry, looking ahead to our next meeting, anything on the radar that's coming our way in, can't believe it's September.
It's budgets.
Budget time.
Budget time. We got to have the budget completed for the October meeting. We started the finance committee reviewed about a dozen of the individual budgets at this month's meeting. We'll be going over the rest of them next month and try to get it all compiled and finalized.
And I also heard there's a big event in September that typically keeps you kind of busy. I can't remember what that was.
Oh,
but
the old Apple
and Pork. That's what it is. Terry, always good to talk to you, sir. Thanks for making time. Terry Ferguson, DeWitt County Board Chair.
WHOW.
The Big 1520 WHOW